Hi, today is April 30th, 2026, and here are my last poems of the month. The first one is poem number 664 for the year, Ornament. There's a tree on Laguardia Place that has an ornament on it. It would be quite understandable if you had walked past it many, many times and never noticed the ornament. I have walked past it many, many times, and I only noticed the ornament like a week and a half ago. Perhaps it has been on the tree since last Christmas, but for all I know, it could have been there since the Christmas before last, or even several Christmases ago. Or perhaps it is an Easter ornament. I have never heard of putting ornaments on a tree for Easter, but it's not impossible that that's a thing. It's pretty plain looking, not a particularly ornamental ornament, but then again, I am not always a very human, so who am I to judge? Anyway, if someone left the ornament on the tree by accident, I hope they find it soon. And if they meant to leave it there so that the tree could have an all-year ornament, well then, cool. And who am I to judge? Poem number 665, Sexual Religion. They were religious, not spiritual, and theirs was a sexual religion. They had an altar on which they made love, and every time they went at it, it was a holy sacrament. And they always prayed together before services began. And when they gave each other communion, they really gave it to each other. And when they came, and they always came, it was an experience like no other. But it wasn't a spiritual experience, it was a religious experience, because theirs was not a sexual spirituality. Theirs was a sexual religion. Poem number 666, Satanic Religion. Theirs was not a satanic spirituality. Theirs was a satanic religion. They had an altar on which they did Satan knows what, but whatever they did, it was a satanic sacrament, and they always hailed Satan before services began, and their Holy Communion wafer was the body of Satan. And when they came to the satanic temple, they came to the satanic temple. But it wasn't a sexual experience, and it wasn't a spiritual experience. It was a religious experience, because theirs was not a satanic spirituality. Theirs was a satanic religion. Poem number 667, The Spinach Haters. The spinach haters got together every Wednesday to collectively hate on spinach. Of course, the haters hated spinach every day of the week, but they only did it as a collective on Wednesdays. Death to spinach, they would chant in unison, in much the same way some folks in the Middle East and elsewhere would chant Death to America. The spinach haters also hated Popeye, and many of them didn't much care for kale or broccolini either, which they considered suspiciously spinach-like, although no one spoke about kale or broccolini at the weekly Spinach Haters Wednesday meetings, because to do so would violate their 10th tradition. On Wednesdays, the Spinach Haters would focus with singleness of purpose on their primary hatred, spinach. If you've never heard of the Spinach Haters, it's probably because they have, for many decades, kept their society secret, because they know that if the existence of the Spinach Haters was generally known, people would think it was very stupid. And the last poem of the day, poem number 668, Arrivederci, April. Arrivederci, April. Bye-bye. Catch you on the flippity-flop. Don't let the door hit you. Ease on out of here. Fee-fi-fo-fum, April. Goodbye, April. Here's to you. I'll see you next time. Just a little more, April. Kick out the jams. Leave us be. Make way for May. Never no more, April. Oh, April, you'll be missed. Put on your walking shoes. Quest for fire. Run along now. See you later. Take a hike, April, unless you want to stay another day, except you can't. Vanamos. We'll remember you to Herald Square, April. Exit through the gift shop. You'll be missed. See you next time, April. All right. That's it. Thank you. New book coming out today. I'll include that poem. I appreciate you.